In the movie that just dropped on Netflix called Uglies, and in the book by the same name, we are introduced to a dystopian society that focuses on looks. Until you're 16, you are what's called an ugly. Our main character, Tally, makes a statement at some point in the movie, and she goes, "I'm tired of being an ugly. I just want to be seen." Today on Geek Devotions, we're talking about what God looks at. Hello and welcome to Geek Devotions, the show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. I'm Celeste, and we are so glad that you have hit play today. Do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you don't watch past this point, know that you are loved. That's it. That's all. That's the whole point of this. You're loved. All that being said, let's get into the devotion. Now, like we said in the intro, Tally's whole society is based off of looks, but this leaves a desire in her and others to be seen. And honestly, that's really relatable. We all want to be seen. We want to be seen for who we are. We want someone to notice us to the point that it has inspired an entire meme. So the question becomes, what does God notice? In 1 Samuel 16, 1 through 13, we see Samuel coming to Jesse and his sons, searching for the next king of Israel. Now, the story is familiar. If it's not, go read it. It's really an interesting story, but I'm going to recap it here because there's a lot to it. Now, Jesse lines up his sons. Samuel is going down the line, and he's looking at them, and he's going, "God, is this the one? Surely this is the one. He looks nice and strong. This is the one you want for king, right?" And God repetitively is telling him, No, not him. And Jesse had a lot of sons. So when he gets to the end of them, Samuel goes, "Do you have any other kids? Do you have any other sons?" And Jesse goes, "Well, there's David. He's out back with the sheep." So Jesse calls David in. He introduces him to Samuel, and God goes, "Him." Now, we know that David was pleasing to look at based on scripture. That was important for them to tell, apparently. But at the same time, he was much younger than his brothers, and he had been relegated to the field, keeping the sheep, to the point of where when they said, "Hey, Jesse, bring in all your sons," he was like, David's fine. There was something there. And not to mention that when he was introduced to the man of God, who ultimately was deciding his destiny, he was probably hot, probably sweaty, and he definitely smelled like sheep. Not a good look on anybody. So we know that appearance isn't what God was looking at. We know from scripture that David worshiped God, that when he was caring for the sheep, that he was talking to God. He had a relationship with God. We know that later in scripture, they called David a man after God's own heart. Even with all of the mess ups that he had, they still call him a man after God's own heart. See, God was looking for what was inside of David, not what he looked like on the outside, but what he looked like on the inside. And the inside was someone who loved God, who struggles, who dealt with all kinds of crazy things, but ultimately loved God. So this is your encouragement for today. God isn't mad at you for struggling with your faith. If you are questioning, that's okay. If you are just struggling with a certain thing, that's okay. Because the struggle shows that you're trying. He sees the struggles for what they are. They are you striving to be who you have been called and created to be in a world that is far from God. Okay, guys, that was your devotion for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share this out with someone you think would also enjoy it. The Uglies book The Uglies series is really an interesting world to play in. Highly recommend it. Also, I want to give a big shout out to all of our patrons who, for as little as $1 a month, help support us and help us to do all the amazing things that we do here. We do these things because we feel like God has called us to do them, but our patrons help support that. Now, if you can't support with money, we understand. Totally get that, but you can share the video, you can like the video, you can watch the video while you're doing other things, even if you've already seen it. That helps, because algorithm. Okay guys, it is now time for the question of the week. Question of the week is this: do you like dystopian fiction? I was doing some research into this before I created the devotion. I just discovered the books this year, and apparently this was the book that started the genre. This was like, it came out in 2012, so before Hunger Games, before any of the other ones like Divergent, any of the really popular dystopian books. This series was one of the first, if not the first. And it was one of the first that like really popped off, that people were really talking about. I just wasn't at a point where I knew what was happening, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it was a thing. So it's interesting to me. So do you like dystopian fiction? Do you like it in books? Do you like it in movies? Let us know down below in the comments. All that being said, stay devoted. Peace and love.